What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the 46th edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast. I am Kellen, I'm your Jackman.
I'm your tire changer Cam.
And I'm your gas man, Cam.
And we have an episode, I think racing content-wise has to be the best we've seen yet. When we look at the list of crown jewels from asphalt late models to dirt late models to wing sprint cars. And then we're gonna touch on, I guess there was a race yesterday at Richmond.
Yeah,
That's race,
something
I
like
guess.
that.
I don't know. But we're gonna talk about the controversy of what's been the Cup Series finish at Richmond last night. So, how are we fellas doing here on a fine Monday evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I snapped you guys yesterday. I missed a good chunk of that race, actually all of the race yesterday, because I was in Angel Park for my for first visit down there and first time watching as one of my coworkers would say, mighty midgets of Sun Prairie. Got to see the midgets in action. So,
Nice.
but no, it was a good night.
Weather was
Long
beautiful.
drive, but a good night.
Couldn't ask for anything better with the weather.
No, for sure. And they actually had the biggest car count out of the three divisions that were there.
Nice.
So,
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. We're coming off of just an awesome weekend of racing across the board. Doesn't matter the discipline. So um excited to talk about it. And then also this weekend too, talking about weather like that. I think it was like Saturday night. It was just like it almost felt like September. It was like a warm but like a crisp breeze, and I was like, wow, I can't wait for that September, windows wide open, crisp breeze, trees changing colors, football, racing. Like,
Yep.
yeah, we're coming up on a good time of year. And yeah, it's excited for this episode. So excited. I got the 3 sign lit up behind me. So
hey,
kidding. It's a
Yeah.
disgrace that that number's even racing after Dale Sr., but ready to chat it up.
Well, should we get into the first big one of the week?
yeah.
So let's jump into this first big one. So going back, we're gonna go back a little bit here. We're gonna go back to Wednesday, August 7th. Um, this is a big one. They had a good car count for this one. The battle at Berlin. Super late model race for a quick $40,000 payday. So a pretty cool little connection there for us Wisconsin guys. We had Kendrick Cryer up running the 97. So not a too far-fetched connection for us there, but kind of what I'll kick it to you guys first. What was your biggest observation watching that race at a unique racetrack?
Uh, just from the little bit that I saw of it, again, I never had the chance to watch it. Pollard was fast, and usually when he says he's got a really good car and it feels like he can win, he usually wins. And he's a dangerous, dangerous man.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. And
Good.
piggyback off of that. The battle at Berlin. So you got Eric Jones and Carson Hocevar, who that's kind of their when you talk about Berlin and late model racing, those two are definitely always at the big races. What is it? What's the race earlier? Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Earlier this year. So those
Yep.
two are always there running up front. So you can count on them to have a good piece. And then when you throw somebody in like Bubba Pollard, who actually won that race earlier this year, I mean, it was going to be a good show. And those three put on a fantastic show themselves. Just running up front, a little beating and banging between the boys. Jonesy banging on and leaning on Pollard a little bit, but yeah, nonetheless, it was a fantastic race. It felt like watching it. It felt, I don't know if it was the long red to start, but it felt like just a long race. But good racing for that fact.
Yeah, so early in the race, kind of, I would say unexpectedly, Hocevar he took off. He took off like he was shot out of a cannon. He started close to the front, and early in the race, he jumped out to 2.3 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds there. And Pollard kind of got there a time or two. He got within a car. He was there. He got by him, and Hocevar just honestly just kind of drove right around him. Um, but then a caution a little later in the race regrouped him, and then Eric Jones grabbed the lead for a little while. And this is kind of where Cam and I were talking about this. The chaos ensued. Um, all of a sudden, pace truck pulls off. They're getting ready to go to green. They're just rolling, and all of a sudden the camera pans, and the back half of the field is just piled up. No idea what happened.
There's still no explanation for it.
It was
I mean-
so, it was so bizarre.
I mean, how many times do you see or hear of instances of guys that are in the back trying to catch up to the field and don't really anticipate how fast they're catching up and just check up into each other?
Oh,
And you know,
what, 6 cars?
yeah. And I think too, the other part too is like it's probably a combination of that, guys catching up, and then whenever, it's been a while since I've been at a asphalt late model race, but when they're coming into 3, everybody speeds up and then they kind of slow down as they get regrouped. And I wonder
Some
if
would
it's
call it playing games.
correct. Everybody speeds up coming to 3 and then they slow down, everybody gets grouped up. And I wonder if it was just a chain reaction, coming in there, and it was a combination of somebody slowing down that checks up the rest of the field, and then you got the back guys that are hauling hind end to catch up to the field coming to green. But yeah, I mean, that was just completely bizarre. It wasn't even in 3. It was kind of on backstretch, and all of a sudden green flags out and they pan, and we've got them piled up on the backstretch.
Yeah.
It was wild, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that track is really, it's a unique track.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so talking about the uniqueness of it. They were calling for it for the old iRacing scan.
Yep, I know. I saw Junior was a big
Yep.
advocate for that. And I stick behind the statement. Usually when Junior wants something, especially when it comes to iRacing,
He's gonna get it.
most of the time he gets it.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, it almost has that, like, it's got a unique feel. Like you can run, it's got the multiple grooves. Like Pollard was just glued to the bottom in 1 and 2, and Hocevar was running a lane and a half up. And,
Yeah.
Depending on what you're set up for, there's multiple grooves there. Same thing in 3. A lot of guys, are hugging that inside wall, but multiple lanes. It's a fun little track.
So ultimately, that last restart late in the race, Hocevar just had the car of the field. He took off, was pretty much gone. I mean, Jones got within a car and a half. But he was just too tight to really ever give him a real good run for it. So when we're looking at the finish, Hocevar, Jones, Pollard, Atwell, Raz, Shotgo, Campbell, Berta, Doss, and Lapsevich round out your top 10.
I'll say Shoko is usually a pretty good driver when it comes to Berlin.
Yep. Nope, he was another one. So they had that that was an 8-tire show. So there was a little bit of strategy there for that as well, where you had guys taking tires at different spots. So they also run that McCreary tire as well. So a little bit of a unique deal with that, where it isn't your typical Hoosier.
Let's say there's what is it? What the hell do they run at Bigley? Is that American?
That's an American racer. Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, they ran the McCreary. So a little different tire, but a lot of strategy involved of when to take tires, and a couple guys took them early. But that kind of cost them in the long run. So that's kind of a brief touch on the Battle to Berlin. So Hocevar knocks out a quick $40,000 payday on the You could probably still consider it the Olympic break
Yeah, it's
leading up to it.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good race. Like we said, from one crown jewel to the next. Van Grohl, I'll kick this one to you because you were locked and loaded for this whole deal. Knoxville Nationals. Sprint
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah, so obviously the entire week was phenomenal in its own right. Um, I think the big one coming into the race was obviously you're gonna have a lot of drivers that were gonna be notables and not making the race. But one guy that was really damn close to not making it or having to work his way into it was Donnie Schatz.
No.
He was originally gonna have to race the uh B main on Friday, but I forget who it was, but somebody missed the scale. So then he ultimately got to start on the pole on the A main, and that got him locked in into Saturday's A main from there. So, um,
Yeah.
touching on just kind of the prelim winners before that. So Gio Selzy won on Wednesday night, Larson won on Thursday night, and then, like I said, Shots won on Friday night to kind of set up all the points and whatnot. Um, and then yeah, when you talk about guys that did not make the show, Searfoss, Eliason, Colfoyd, Spencer Baston, Park Press Miller, Schoenberg, Kane, a prelim winner last year, Aaron Rutzel, Tanner Thorson, Kerry Matson, a former winner, and Ryan Timms. I mean, that's just to name a few of the guys that didn't make the show last year. So when you go from 110 cars down to 24, somebody's bound not to make it.
So a hammer is bound to not make it.
Yep. So and even Sweet, I think I don't remember if last year he had to work his way in, but he had to work his way in too from B main to get into this one. So
Yeah.
but when it came down to it, Larson ended up starting on the pole, which obviously was a bit of a dagger to start off with when you got the defending champ and Larson sitting on the pole. You know he's gonna be a tough guy to beat. Um Kind of showed some colors too this last week by exposing, I don't know if you want to call it that, but showing how money tight Paul Silva can be as he goes dumpster diving for parts.
Dude, that video was funny.
And then
Like, I get it. I really do get it because it's expensive to do this shit, but to just put it out there and he said, yeah, that was Silva. We won on someone else's 3 race old tires.
Yeah,
Well, and I
that
Like,
think
was what the hell race was that? That was that Monday race.
good God.
I
well, I
forget.
think, you know, for him too, like he's got to put that out because he was replying to somebody who said after he won that big race, it's easy to win when you're backed by as much money as he is. And I think
Yep.
that's he had to throw that out there like, hey, there's a little misconception. Like, yeah, I do this, but like the team I come from, like, we're not loaded with money. Now, yeah, if Kyle Larson wanted to stick a bunch of money into it, he's got some money. I think he's got a few extra dollars hanging around that he could, you know, throw into that sprint car. But the fact that he came out and he put that video and then he said, you know, we've won the last 3 races on somebody else's used tires is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize how long Larson has been with Paul Silva. Uh, Watching this video here from High Limit, they're posting about the Gold Cup race that's coming up here soon. This was from back in 2013, and he was with Paul Silva for that race.
Yeah.
So them two know each other very well. Um, but yeah, as you get into it again, you knew they were going to be tough to beat with them being the defending champs of this race. Um, Logan Schuhart had a gear failure a few laps into the race. And first report was that even from a couple of crew guys, yep, we're done for the night. Can't fix it. And here come in a couple of crew guys with gears in their hand and a jack, just saying, lift the car up. And they get underneath and they're just going to town on it. And they're like, they got 2 minutes of guaranteed time. And
Yeah.
it's just there's no way. There's no way they're gonna get this done. Not a chance. And here they go. They get out of the car and they tell him to push him off, and he goes.
That's dude. Sprint car hot pits are a wild place to be and or watch.
Just one of the most incredible guaranteed time hit deals you're gonna ever see,
Yep.
and you're only gonna see it for a Knoxville Nationals. It
Yeah.
brings the best out of the best out of everybody. I mean, the only other one that I think could really compete is like the Chili Bowl
Yep.
with some of them guys there.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
otherwise, that was the only natural caution for that race, and like I said, that happened really early on. Had a halfway break at 25 to get fuel, especially, but to make any changes they wanted to. Usually in open reds, you can make any adjustments. You just can't change tires. You could bolt on 4 new tires if you wanted to. It was everything was on the table if you could do it in, I think it was 5 minutes is what the time was. Either way, if you could do it in that allotment of time, you could do whatever you wanted to do in the car. And Larson or Silver goes up to Larson and says, we're not changing tires. Tires look good. They're all good.
Got it.
Well, everybody else does.
Yeah.
So, and one of the comments that Larson made was they've been bit a couple times with putting new tires on and just changing drastically how the car ran.
Yeah.
And Larson's like, car was running great. I didn't have a reason to need to change anything, so we didn't change tires.
Don't fix what's not broken.
Yep, exactly. So, suing restart, Larson gets out to the lead. GL Selzy was able to kind of put a challenge up there, but Larson just after you kind of picked through some lap traffic, just he was on a tear. There was no way you were going to deny him of a Knoxville Nationals. And when it comes down to it, he ended up getting his third one. Of note, Corey Day was on a mission as well. He ended up being the hard charger coming from 11 to 3. And I tell you what, if he would have gotten a caution, he might have been the winner of that race.
The dude just continues to impress.
Yep. So of note, and I forgot to mention this in the race preview that I put out last week, but he won an Outlaws race month or two ago at Knoxville.
Yep.
So he was already a winner at Knoxville.
Yep. Yeah. That kid's doing some special stuff.
Yeah, so he put it to him, and obviously, both of them guys were disappointed, but Selzy, he was emotional in victory lane or in podium position, second place the Nationals. Yeah, you want to win, but when you finish second to Larson, you're doing pretty damn good for yourself. And then Corey Day for being, first Nationals.
Yep.
Pretty damn good in his own right too. So very, very rich podium. And Larson even said too in his winner's toast to everybody, he said, "Can we
Get
get
him water.
him water?"
That's funny.
He's
So
standing there with a mixed drink, and yeah, that was funny. But yeah, that he's an 18-year-old kid that is competing at the highest level and doing it very well.
and of course everybody knows the rumors about him maybe jumping ship to late models or something like that, and let him do his dues in sprint cars.
Yeah. We could use him for another 2 years.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, Larson wins his third Knoxville Nationals in 4 years, my bad. And then he mentioned in his press conference too that Donnie Schatz did 9 in a 10-year stretch. And he feels pretty good about where their program's at Knoxville.
Damn.
So
You did hear him saying the toast. Come back and do this again next year. So
and I don't think anybody's gonna complain if he keeps picking them off too.
Let's
no,
be honest. The fans are just happy to have him there and for him to be competitive.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, because especially at the
reality of the
start of the year, he
situation
wasn't.
is you love to see him win, but even like when we were at Davenport, they pushed that car for hot laps, and the place was screaming like he won the race already.
Yep.
Like the people, I think, and again, I think the dirt side loves him for what he does in a wing sprint car. Obviously, the asphalt side, you can love the NASCAR side of him, but all of those worlds are just colliding, and people are just seeing that we're looking at somebody that you may never see a race car driver like this again.
In our lifetime, at least.
Yep.
and I was just gonna allude to that. I just Googled Kyle Larson when we were talking about him here, and you go on his website. And obviously it's been, like you said, thrown around on the internet that people don't realize what we're watching. But you just scroll on his website and it's insane. Do you want his NASCAR gear? Do you want sprint car gear? Do you want his IndyCar gear? Do you want his late model gear? We don't even talk about he ran the Chili Bowl.
Just won it.
And it's won it. I mean, say what you want about the man, but we gotta step back a little bit and appreciate what we are witnessing, because I don't think there will ever be another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there is, it'll take a long, long time to get that.
Exactly.
I'll be 6 feet under before we see another one.
But no, it's him. And they mentioned that in the broadcast too, or at least in the interviews, that, he obviously runs the Daytona 500 every year. Got the Brickyard 400 win, ran the Indy 500 earlier this year.
Yep.
Goes and wins the Knoxville Nationals.
Yep.
I mean, the guy just races. It's what he wants to do.
If he wants to drive it, he'll drive it, and it doesn't matter the day of the week.
Yep. So, when it comes down to it, though, top 10 for your Knoxville Nationals: Kyle Larson, Gio Scelzi, Corey Day, Carson Macedo was 4th, Anthony Macri was 5th, Brian Brown was 6th, or sorry, yeah, 6th, Tyler Courtney 7th. Oh, I'm gonna botch this. Scott Bacucci was 8th, Sheldon Hanshield was 9th, and Jacob Allen was 10th. Guy that I was rooting for a little bit and was a little sad he didn't have a good run, or not a better run as what he did. Darren Pittman, former Casey Kane driver and outlaw champion.
Yep.
He ended up finishing 11th.
Yeah, for sure.
And old Donnie Schatz went from 21 to 13 in that race.
That's for that spectacle, that's a good run, but for him, he's
Disappointed.
for sure. Just
So,
got behind.
Yep.
Can't get behind.
So now it's and they officially announced the weekends for next year, and tickets go fast. They sold out of everything. Grandstand tickets, pit passes.
For next year?
No, from this year.
Oh, got it for this year. I was gonna say,
Yeah, yep. They sold out of everything this year.
Got it.
Even if you showed up to the track, you weren't getting in.
Shit.
So
Make note.
So no, good race. It was I actually was listening to it. I had it pulled up on my phone, the broadcast, plugged it into the aux cord on the car as I was driving home from the Dells.
Oh yeah. Had to live for 5 too.
Yep. So no, good race.
Cool. Any final thoughts? Cam?
No, like you said, that brings out the best of the best. And when you get down to, when you go from 100+ cars down to 24, you're going to be cutting out some big names. And those prelim nights, it puts the screws to you. You can't have a bad night. So awesome event. Got to appreciate what Larson's doing, and yeah, look forward to maybe getting the old wheel and pedals out and turning a few sprint car laps at Knoxville myself on the old World Outlaws game. So no, it's a good race.
Sweet. So from one big dirt race to the next big dirt race, we will go ahead and we get really 2 little noticeable bullet points that we'll mention here before we get into it, but we will wrap up the Saturday night feature of the North-South 100 with the Lucas Oil Dirt Late models. So that Saturday night feature ran for a cool 75 grand to win. But really kind of 2 notes before we get into this the Saturday night features. 1, Kyle Bronson. He took a hell of a tumble again. That's 2 tough ones in the last year here, because last year, late in the year at Knoxville, brand new Longhorn that he just debuted, and that thing went ass over tea kettle, unfortunately. And 2, the second one, Friday night, Jameson gets parked. He chopped Bobby Pierce under caution as he was getting his quarter panels pulled out from the rear of the car. So a slide job that he was not appreciative of. And it was funny, they're on the broadcast and they go, that would be the naughty flag. And then you just see him leave the track. We're like, yeah, got it.
And when you're getting your quarter panels pulled out by, I'm assuming it was safety crew.
Unofficial, yeah. Well,
It's when you do something when there's an official around, yeah, that see ya.
yeah. And it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't egregious, but it was enough that it shook the car a little bit. And then he made, because they're still under caution, he made one lap. And then the exit off of the track was right off of 4. You go through the infield and it goes right across the backstretch. You just see him take the hard left off of 4, and you're like, yeah, he's gone.
Yep.
So
They got on that one-way communication and said, yeah, you can make your way off the racetrack.
yeah, you can try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yikes.
Cam, you and I, you're Van Grohl, you were at the Dell. So Cam, I'll kind of kick you too. What do you got for observations kind of as we get rolling in here, this 100 lapper for 75 grand?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll go back to bullet point 2 here on our talking points. I mean, pardon my French, but that race setup is asinine. I mean, the Thursday and Friday portions basically mean nothing.
Except for the 6 grand it pays to win.
Correct. And so you're collecting points, and like Jonathan Davenport was the highest point getter through Thursday and Friday night, won both of his features. And then they do an invert for Saturday night, and he rolls off for a heat race. He rolls off 4th, and unfortunately doesn't pass a car in his heat race. So then you're looking at your top point getter rolling off 19th for the feature. And I don't know. And maybe that's obviously a little bit of bias with the shirt I'm wearing, but also like I felt like coming off of Cedar Lake, I'm like, that was literally not the same Cedar Lake setup. Like for the USA Nationals, 2 prelim nights, you're collecting points. Saturday comes around, top 8 and second 8 are in a dash, and that's how we're setting the field. But no, you have I mean, theoretically, he could have missed the show. I mean, obviously, he would have had, provisional.
A provisional of sorts.
Yeah, but still, I mean, yeah, Kel, we were talking about it's like he won his 2 prelim nights and he's racing in a B main. It's like,
yeah, what are we doing?
We were texting each other. We're like, how did this happen? Like, I don't know. It was the old 4 invert and
19.
Yeah, I don't know. That was brutal to watch. And then of course he's got a rocket. But
yeah, drove through the field, and then you put Bobby Pierce on the front row.
I got some thoughts on the old BP 32 right now.
I mean, that's I talked about with Larson. That's a dagger right out of the gate, putting
that's
Pierce
what I'm
on the front
saying.
row.
Like, he's probably at this point, the chat on Twitter has been he's probably the hottest dirt late model driver in the country right now.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. Well, you put him on the front row. It's the parallel of putting Larson on the front row of the Knoxville Nationals. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be on the front row.
Yeah.
JD didn't deserve to start 19th.
I mean, we were talking about Cedar Lake. I went back to that. He started P2 at Cedar Lake, Pierce did. So again, he was right on the front row. Given he raced his way to the front row.
Yep, for sure.
And I think where the frustration for me and Kellen's coming in is that those first 2 features for USA Nationals, those first 2 features meant something for Saturday.
Yep.
This format, they're keeping track of points, saying Jonathan Davenport's the highest point getter for the first 2 nights. But then you're basically rolling into Saturday and like, yeah, thanks for showing up. Thursday and Friday meant nothing.
It almost should have been, okay, you are locked into the show. We're going to do a dash to and run a race and invert the dash.
At that point, you might as well not even risk junking a car on Thursday or Friday. You might as well show up on Saturday and go, I'm here to race for 75 grand.
I'll rather race my
Is
way.
that gonna go worth a damn? Absolutely not. But in that scenario, it's the same thing. I don't know.
Yep.
It had me a little bit fired up. I'm not gonna lie to you. But no, so when we look at the race, Hunter Lappert, they ran the first 50 green. They literally got their first caution on lap 49 going into lap 50. There really was only 2 cautions in the entire race, and that restart on lap 50 kind of piled up the back of the field a little bit. And that unfortunately had Turbo kind of caught in the middle of all of that.
His
But really,
fun
I
tour is
mean,
kind of turning into a not so fun tour here as well.
I know, dude. The old fun
yeah,
tour is taking a turn.
the fun tour isn't the summer nationals that it was, unfortunately, anymore. Um, so he kind of has some struggles, but really, I mean, the reality of the race was that it was Marlar and Pierce for most of the race. Those 2 guys had good cars, and they traded the lead for most of the race. But really, the last caution kind of set the stage for it to finish with 6 to go. Hudson O'Neal is inside the top 5 again. Another guy coming from deep, but with that restart, they were single file inside 10 to go. So Bobby Pierce fired off and he was gone. So ultimately, when it comes down to Bobby Pierce was your feature winner. So Pierce, Moran, Drake Troutman, good run. Max Blair, Brandon Overton, Jonathan Davenport, Dalton Wilson, RTJ, Tim McCready, Zach Dome, Mike Marlar, 11th, and Garrett Alberson rounds out your top 12. So that was
So not that I'm gonna keep ranting about the format of that setup, but watching that race, and his finish doesn't go to show it, but Marlar ran up front for a lot of the race.
yeah.
And we're talking about somebody who on Thursday night, his car was literally a magnet for other sheet metal. I mean, that guy could not was getting just his car kept finding other cars. Like it was, I don't know what the story was, but it's like I watched that go down on Thursday night, and then I tune in for the big money on Saturday night, and here he's in the top 3. I'm like,
Well,
buddy was just
Jameson got parked on Thursday night and he starts on the front row of the big show or inside row 2, whatever it was. Like,
yeah.
man, guess it's a little more cutthroat, but still, yeah, it's ultimately it was a good race. JD, you don't see him do it too often, but that thing slicked off and it was the bottom or the top. And at one point, you could just see it in the corner of the screen. He had that baby on the top, just screaming around the top.
And I think, ultimately, for him, well, he said, in his interview on Thursday night, he said, I granted it's only half the field, but damn it, it feels good to win. And, hopefully for him, it's, get this ship right in the right direction and get going. But honestly, man, I just, it's going to be hard to go to a dirt super late model race that Bobby Pierce is at and not be like, is anybody going to beat him tonight? Or do we get to watch him run away from everybody again? Yeah. The guy's on a different level right now. It's kind of a Ricky Thornton year like last year. Which he showed a flash too as well. Getting a win with Chris Madden, first one for that duo. And it'll be an interesting pairing to continue to watch. But yeah, no, it was a fun race to watch.
Good race. Just yeah, on the format.
Yeah, we'll have to send some emails.
You were talking about points. Touching on the Bobby Pierce one here, or like you said, the tear that he's going on. He keeps continuing to close that gap on the others when it comes to the World Outlaws points. He is now within 76 points of the lead.
I saw the World Outlaws late model. I don't know if you guys saw the point standings I just released. I think it was He's 76. Hoffman's 26 back, and
Yep.
Shepard's leading them. All born and raised in Illinois.
Yeah. Hoffman claims out of Mooresville, but he's an Illinois boy,
Yeah.
born and raised.
So Illinois, I guess, is a breeding ground for dirt super late model races.
Apparently.
When you grow up going to PDC, you don't really have a choice.
This is also true.
Well, so
The
you
When
talk
dream-
about
that's your family vacation every year. Yeah, you know exactly where you're headed.
The dream is there from an early age.
Correct.
well, so you talk about that. So I'm looking at the Outlaws points, and if you consider Hoffman a Illinois guy, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of your top 10 are out of the Midwest region
Yep.
in the World Outlaws points. You go to Lucas Oil, you get a little more, we'll call it diversity. I mean, you got Indiana, Ohio, Georgia, New York. We all know who New York is. New Mexico, Tennessee, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. So you get a little different crowd for that one.
Yeah, a little more parity in the field, what you could say. But yeah. Well, either way, good race. Fun to watch. A little bias coming through there in the evaluation of the weekend, but how can you not love JD though?
I was about to say Jam there is repping not one, but 2 items of clothing there for
Yep.
JD.
This is just straight Longhorn. Well, I guess, yeah, you're going to consider
Same
him.
thing. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Gotcha. All right. So let's kick it ahead. Let's go over to the 5 minutes of gonna start is not fun, and then it leads to the fun facts, and we even got a little bit of breaking news. Speaking of the dirt late model world, about an hour ago. Got some news coming out of there, but the first 2 are not fun. Where do we want to start and who wants to take them? Otherwise, I can take the first one.
Well, I'll take the second one.
Okay, I'll eat the first one. So, if you've seen on Twitter, unfortunate turn of events at Southern Raceway and out of
Milton, Florida.
Milton, Florida. So if you follow Hunt the Front, that would be their home track. Unfortunately, they had a driver having a medical emergency during the race before the car had actually wrecked. And he had passed away. So, there's been some stuff going around on Twitter, and it's really, really sad that it comes to this, that the mother of the individual has to make a post that says, don't blame anybody at the track, don't blame the other drivers. This was his time to go. So you just know when you see a post that a track says that they are canceling the rest of a race portion, you just know
Not good.
the situation is not something's not right. So it's unfortunately it's part of life. It's part of the racing community. I feel sometimes are kind of immune to this type of thing of you just expect a driver to crawl out. And unfortunately that was not the event at Southern. So yeah, not an easy one to deliver on the first bit of facts here. So
No, I was gonna say, think we, everybody as humans takes life for granted sometimes, and life in general. But as us at race fans, you go to the track and like you said, you take it for granted that 99% of the time you see somebody hit the wall, window nets down, they're throwing the steering wheel on, the dash, whatever. And 99% of the time that's the case, but incredibly sad situation that sad reality of life is sometimes doesn't happen. And obviously thoughts and prayers to that family for going through the unimaginable right now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get this trended back in the right direction.
Well,
Kind of.
kind of. So McKenna Haas, for those that watched the Knoxville Nationals, one of the prelim nights, she took a hard hit in turn one of one of the prelim races. The way that that car flipped, basically got two solid blows right to the cage of the car. I mean, you looked at the photo of the front clip and it's just completely bent.
That car was in almost a C shape
Yep.
when it was dropped back at the trailer.
So she's one tough cookie though. Got out under her own power, even though she spent a few nights in the hospital and deservingly so. Neck pain, back pain, and a hole in her lung
Yes.
was, I believe, what was the diagnosis. And then she left the hospital a couple days after that. So,
Actually, this morning I think they believe I said she was released.
yep.
Late yesterday, early this morning.
I think yesterday.
So that's always really good to hear.
Yep. So yeah, huge wreck. Obviously the roll cage and all the safety components came into play and made it not so rough. But that's a reminder too that racing in itself is an inherently dangerous sport, and it's a slight reminder of that.
Correct. Cam, what do you got?
Getting back, getting the ship in the right direction here. Some big NASCAR news came out. Well, I guess I don't know if it's big, but Spire continues to make moves and solidify their driver and crew lineup for next year. But Travis Peterson follows McDowell from front row to Spire to crew chief. So have to figure that. I don't know if it was, I didn't even read into it, if they officially announced those two are going to be paired together. But if they aren't, if it's not official, it's pretty, we'll go on the limb and say it's pretty safe to assume they're going to be paired together.
Yes, that was the announcement, is that he'd be paired with McDowell.
Okay, got it. I didn't even read the official announcement, but yeah, so Spire continues to solidify their driver and crew chief lineup for next year, and obviously try to build some momentum. And obviously, thinking about Spire, what McDowell and Peterson were able to do with front row, it's hard not to, it's an attractive pairing. They built front row to what they are. So obviously bring those two together and bring those two over together, and hopefully Spire, I'm sure, is going to say, hey, we'll give you everything. Just do the same thing you did at front row. Build this thing the right way and get it done. We'll give you guys the resources and get a Spire car running up front. So, yeah, Peterson follows McDowell to Spire.
And then you got the wealth of knowledge that Childers brings into that organization too. Again, Spire is investing in its future big time.
Along with the said individual that nobody knows will drive the 7.
Yep.
And there's still an open hole there. So silly season is in full swing.
And we're seeing some of that in the Xfinity side of things as well.
Correct. So yeah, so when we look at this, headed down to Xfinity Series. Junior Motorsports announces Connor Zilch full-time in the 88. So they make a move. Obviously, that 88 car has kind of been their superstar car with Carson Quapple and Bubba Pollard for Richmond.
Junior's got his
slated races that he wants to run. So that's gonna be his superstar car. That number will run full-time with Zillich. So and to kind of go along with that, the rumblings are starting to come around Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones. So kind of hearing that those two are going to be headed elsewhere. And you have to take a bet that Mr. Quapple will find himself in one of those cars.
Of note, and I brought this up to you guys in the group chat, Xfinity and trucks have no regulations as far as how many full-time entrants a team could put in. So Junior could put in 5 full-time entrants for the year. They could go with 3, they could go with 4, whatever that number is. So just throwing that out there.
There we go. I did
Clear in
also
the
today that potential Brandon Jones back to Joe Gibbs,
I seen that too.
which it's interesting, but time will tell.
Yep.
We'll all find out here at some point. So,
Yep.
all right.
No, I mean, sticking with the NASCAR news, I'll save this last one for you two because you'll really enjoy it. But Suarez also was announced that him and one of the sponsors, and I forget the sponsor at the time, signed a contract extension believed to be only a year for Suarez because it will drive the 99 in the 2025 season.
Yeah.
So he sticks around for a little bit, along with the sponsor.
I was gonna say, when Kellen texted me that, I said, his win probably saved his season or saved his ride this year, getting that win at Atlanta. But although it's a 1-year contract, the unfortunate part of this business, I texted Kellen and said, unfortunately, he's probably going to be racing for his job every single year. He's got to win to keep his ride, and
Yeah.
it's the unfortunate part of the business. So,
So quick rundown. So I'm looking at J-Ski. I trust them wholeheartedly with everything that I get rumor wise. So far the 7 car
Whoa.
is open.
Oh.
No, I truly do. J-Ski's
I
really
know. We're just giving you a hard time.
oh.
Yeah.
So J-Ski's open, or that 7 car is open. Let's
There's
see.
one charter left to be decided on from
Dished out
FHR,
somewhere.
right?
The 31 car is still kind of up in the air. There's a front row car a couple of front row cars that are still kind of up in the air.
Yeah. There's gonna be a
So I
lot
mean,
of movement.
obviously the 7 is the big one. Does 2311 go to a 4th car or a 3rd car? Does Trackhouse introduce a 3rd car? I mean, those are your kind of your
Well,
big ones right now.
so I kind of think about this. Colleagues got themselves in an interesting situation because SVG is not a Colleague guy; it's Trackhouse guy.
Correct. So they have, as far as the possible 3rd Trackhouse car, it is currently between SVG and Saint Smith.
So then you look at Colleague, if they continue to work with Trackhouse in this sense, then that means you have 2 choices. You're either putting him in the 31 and that leaves Hemrick out, or you're going to continue to send him full time in this 16. Well,
Which that's a unknown car right now is what that 16 is.
yep. That's been a rotating car for them this season. I don't know. There's a lot to be decided here yet. This is going to get interesting. It's been interesting already, but we are the furthest thing from settling all of this. So, all right, Cam, you got the last one.
yeah, just announced, fresh off the press. They've been making some headlines here as of late, over the weekend, but Gateway Dirt Nationals, in the Dome, fantastic event. We had a live stream for it last year for one of the nights. Best intros there are in dirt racing. Fun little bull ring track in a stadium, but they are back and they are going to continue to run that event through 2027. So, just announced, and obviously with, I mean, when you got the itch and people are, the registration for super late models was full in 15 minutes. So, when you have excitement like that around an event, I think it's pretty easy for them to say, yep, we're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, Tristan Chamberlain. He said he refreshed the page twice, and he went to put in his card information, and then it said sold out.
Gotta have that stuff on autofill.
So he's on a goddamn waiting list because he refreshed the page to put his payment in, and it said sold out.
Yep.
So yeah, I obviously the demand is there with limited number of spots of demand to get in, but yeah, do love the dome. I think the dome's a great event. I love it. I'm glad they kept it. The rumblings were not good about it. We had a lot of we had kind of been hearing in the rumor mill of the dirt world was that this was going to be the last year and this was going to be the big send off and they're going to make it a big thing but
Psych.
have no fear, we get at least a couple more years. So that's been the list of facts that don't have a category, so we made them their own for the week. So lots of good stuff. Again, stay tuned to the Twitter for that. And we will keep you updated on that. So when we talk about the schedule itself, so let's name off a few other race winners coming off of the weekend.
I think mainly because our next two topics are going to be
debated.
Very, very conversation driven.
Yeah. All right. Other race winners. Past super late models. Trevor Sanborn. We'll touch on these in just a minute here as well. Midwest Truck Series, Dixieland, Grant Griesbach, or as Brad J. Miller calls him, Greaseball.
Yep.
XR Northern Storm, one was canceled. Tyler Peterson raced and won two of them. So good weekend for him with that as well. When we go down a little bit further, looking at the Wissota late models, Gondik Law, you had Cole Searing. Scrolling down a little bit further, Alive for 5 super late models. Luke Fenhouse back to back for the Badger State 125. USAC Silver Crown at Jennerstown, Cody Swanson. Richmond for the trucks, you had Ty Majeski, so Wisconsin winner there. Badger Midget Auto Racing, Angel Park last night. You had Daniel Robinson. Well, Bam Dirt Late Models, you had Mike Mullen. That is their fourth different winner in 4 different trips there. And then one other notable one, winning with the Wissota late models at ABC, Shane Sabraski. So after a little bit of a health scare, super glad to have him back in the car, as they call him, the Iron Man. Back winning races. So always good to see him, 1, back in the car, but 2, dominating.
I'll throw one more in there real quick. So on the Super Series at Chris Motorsports Park, talked about Bubba having a good car at Berlin. Well, he really backed it up by winning at Crisp.
Yep. So
I believe it's the Cordell Speed Fest, if I remember correctly.
yes, yep, for sure. So here's kind of a little bit of a recap on your race winners for the previous week. All right, this is where buckle up, get your opinions ready. We're gonna debate some stuff. Yeah. So we'll start with ours here. Again, the Crown Jewel theme of the week continues. It's always been the Dixieland. It's the Gandrud Auto Group 250 with the Midwest Tour up here for $15,000 to win. Well, we call it the Dixieland, rightly or wrongly. I take it or leave it. Big roll. You were there.
I was.
I'll let you get us started on this one.
Well, I should have known that something was going to happen when you couldn't even park the haulers in the grass. I should have known right then and there that
something wasn't right.
Something wasn't right. Given they had a torrential downpour the night before, they literally could not park the haulers in the grass, otherwise they were not going to be able to get out. So I give kudos to Midwest Tour for figuring something out and how to get cars pitted in certain spots and making these comp cautions work and all, not comp cautions, but the controlled cautions work. Kudos to them for that. Made it work. Excuse me. Like I said, I should have known that that was going to be the beginning, not the beginning of the end, but
The beginning of interesting stuff.
yes. Um, Turn four, the guys just could not get off a four. And for those, I don't know if they mentioned it on the broadcast, but for those that with the torrential downpour, there was a nice big old puddle right where the track meets the grass.
You know,
There was a big old puddle, and the guys, they're digging for it all they can. They kept hitting that puddle, and they kept spinning off the floor. Every time I tuned in, a guy, hey, what'd you do? I hit the puddle.
yeah.
So,
Well, you could even see, I was watching a live stream. Lowell Bennett, the nose of the car was actually muddy.
yeah,
It was grass and it was muddy.
yep. So,
So
I mean, that had a lot to do with it.
yeah,
Mondike broke an axle and then later locked up the motor. Um, Johnny D, he had a hell of a car. I mean, he had as fast a car as he did last year there. Um, but he, and I mentioned it to you guys, and you mentioned it too. It was he had not pitted for a certain amount of time, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way he can make it all the way on gas. I knew what he was trying to do, but there was no way. And sure shit, I turn on the radio. The first thing I hear is, I think I'm running out of gas. Comes out of the next corner. I'm out of gas.
yep.
And I knew it was coming right on that restart. Just he pushed it too far and he ran out of gas. But to his credit, he was able to hold on to the lead with the old tires as well.
Yep.
So that tells you how fast of a car that he had.
Yeah. There was even a little bit of a conversation about that is who was calling for him to go a lap down because he had stopped on the track. Somebody was calling for him.
Majeski.
Of course. He was calling for him to go a lap down because he had stopped on the track.
See, but that's not Midwest Tour rules. Now, don't know for sure if it's Midwest Tour rules. He didn't do it on purpose either. Well,
Right.
he
It
he
open for
couldn't get the
interpretation.
car back started.
Correct. He was going to need some assist to get back.
Correct. I know in the Stars National Tour, if you stop on track and then proceed to go on your own, that's an automatic 1 lap penalty.
Yep.
I don't know what it is if you get pushed back or if it's egregious enough that you could tell that you stopped on the track.
Yep.
But either way, it was all for naught because then Johnny broke axle tube off in the rear end of the car anyways.
Something seemed weird because they pushed that car back to the pit stall and the hub and everything was still bolted to, or the tire was still bolted to the hub, and the tire was sticking out the quarter panel like a half a width, and you're like, hang on a second here. But yeah, that was super weird.
Well, then Nason, he also ran however many laps.
Yeah. Well,
So
when I'm watching the stream, I texted her, is that thing on fire?
yeah, it was.
It looked like it was on fire there.
100%. He would go by, you could see a fire on the headers as he was going by. Yep.
Like that, the goddamn thing's on fire.
We figured it was one of the header gaskets. One of the header gaskets broke and oil was just slowly seeping out. And he ran until it ran below 40 40 pounds of oil. Or whatever the oil number is when it went below 40.
Oil pressure's a good thing.
So yeah, he said, yeah, it went below 40. We're done.
Okay.
Try and salvage the motor a little bit. And I don't remember, I think it was a comp caution or yeah, it was a comp caution that grouped them up back together. But then that's when the beginning of the end really starts.
The gloves were off.
The gloves were off. It was 40 to go. Fenhouse and Majeski were on the front row, and I was listening to Kraus at the time, and he says, you know the history between these two. Just stay on your toes, and stay on your toes was right. Because they go sailing into one, and Fenhouse just uses up Majeski for everything that he's got and piles everybody up on the backstretch and goes from there.
Because Summers, so a couple things. One, how Kraus missed all of that, still can't figure it out.
I think I don't remember if he just tapped the outside wall, but he got caught up in the fact that he had to check up.
Yep. So he basically had to stop. Two, that's where the Gabe Summers conversation comes in because that's where
Put the emergency tire on.
he put that right, it was right
Put
front
the
or
It
right
was right
rear
front.
because he kind of went bombing through there thinking he could miss Fenhouse on the bottom, and Fenhouse kind of had come down a little bit, and he just caught him, and that it wrecked that right front. So that's where the tire debate comes to light.
One more we got to throw in before we get farther into the rabbit's hole. Andy Monday and his wreck.
Oh my God, that was
Wow.
bad. That was really bad.
Yep. And for those that haven't seen pictures, go to Midwest Tour on Facebook, go to Andy Monday Motorsports. You're probably going to pull them up. I mean, that car was destroyed.
It 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 tore the roof off of the car.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of that frame got bent in half.
And
Honestly,
he said on the radio, or he said in the live stream, he goes,
done for the year. Yeah,
I'm done
car's
for the
destroyed.
year. And I'm like,
And like I was listening to him on the radio, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." You could tell he was disappointed that he wrecked, and his crew guys were like, "No, are you okay?" Yeah. So
it's
for those
tough
that
to
are
see
watching here,
that that is what that car looked like when it came off the track.
yeah, again, if you want to see a lot clearer photos or up close photos, go to
Yeah.
Midwest Tour and Andy Monday Motorsports, and you'll see the rest of them. But yeah, he hit a ton down on those inside foams, and I saw him sliding across the track, and I knew exactly where he was going. I knew it wasn't going to be good.
Yep.
So, all right. So back
Oh,
to the
that's a little bit more clear.
yep, that's a little bit better one there.
Yeah.
Everybody should take a life lesson out of that too as well, because he was in his interview. If that guy can smile after his racing season just gets ended and have the perspective he has, this world would be a lot better place, because car wrecked and ruins his entire year. And he even said maybe even the start of next year. And he just was like, you know what? It is what it is. I got good people around me. I got good sponsors around me. We'll figure it out. And it's like,
Thank to the track safety and officials was the first thing he did, and then he went from there. But that was wicked.
Yep.
yeah,
So
So, all right. So yeah, then Fenhouse and Majeski get together. Majeski ends up getting a lot of damage. Fenhouse, don't remember if he broke something or what happened with him.
he he kind of soldiered on because he ended up finishing fourth.
It, yeah, which we'll get to that point as well. Um,
I'm I'm just looking at the results,
nope.
telling you.
Yep. Yep. Um, and then yeah, so it puts Kraus up in the front and Vandergeest coming through the field as well.
So right, so that's your front row on this restart.
Yep, a couple of restarts. There was another between
Yeah,
caution that grouped him back up, and then on the next caution or on the next restart after that, uh, pretty much same deal, second verse.
yeah,
Vandergeest dives it down in there, runs up the track, uses up Kraus, ends up spinning Kraus over in two.
yeah. And then they both end
And
up back.
yep, and both of them end up in the back. And listening to Vandergeest got hit by Sommers or got pinched down by Kraus or whatever it is, but it looked like the same thing. Again, yep, all depends on how you interpret it.
Yep,
But either way, it ruins both of their races. For what it
correct.
comes down
With
to.
with 8 to go.
With 8 to go. Yep. Or no, it wasn't even the restart. It was they were just racing it out from that point. So
Yep.
on the ensuing restart, that puts Summers and Majeski up on the front row. Majeski doesn't know if he's going to be able to really race the way that the damage on the car is. Gave Summers a run for his money, but Summers ultimately ends up pulling away. And went and crosses the finish line first.
Yep. Let's.
And I say that for a reason.
Yeah.
So, when it comes down to it, they get in the post race tech. I was watching Twitter just to get the official word. I saw from Dave Kalaman from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. He says there are questions being raised in the tech shed. I said, here we go.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Summers gets demoted a lap for having an unproved tire.
Yep. He bolted on the emergency.
Well, the emergency was there, but it was to get approved.
Yep.
And I don't remember if there was the lap penalty to go with it, and they never assessed the lap penalty.
Yep. Yeah.
So that spurred that whole deal. And ultimately, when it's all said and done, your top 10 were Majeski, Morrissey, Paul Schaefer, Luke Fenhaus, Levon Vandergeest, Derek Kraus, Grant Griesbach, and the Super, Chris Kelly, Joe Valento, and Ryan Farrell was your top 10. This also goes on a little bit of a bad stretch of cars getting DQ'd in crown jewel races.
Yeah.
You have Fredrickson getting DQ'd last year at the Sheer. We had the Slinger Nationals debacle go on. You had this one happen. And then obviously you had just guys just no regards for each other either. So it begged the question of, was this a classic or was this just a shit fest?
So here's where I
Depends who
sit.
you ask.
Yeah, yeah, because here's where when the guys could stay off of each other, the racing was really good.
Yep.
And when we couldn't stay off of each other, it was really bad.
Yep. And
So-
obviously the Midwest racing is very well known for not wrecking each other.
Correct, not the latter piece of that. So the hard part is when even Andy Monday, who had a total race car, he started up front and he ran that outside groove and he hung on for a long time.
Yep.
When the racing was good, it was really good. It just was the caution breeds caution and one to the next, and now you've got junked cars left and right.
Because that's the other point. We never ran the race long enough to get a competition caution. There was always a natural caution.
Correct. Yep. So the officials never had to break the race up
Yep.
per se.
Yep.
I don't know. That's where I sit. I don't think it's one or the other. I'm in the middle somewhere, but like I said, when the racing was good, it was really, really good. When it wasn't, one thing just kind of led to the next.
I mean, when Majeski comes out in his post race interview and says that was not our best show, that was a shit show. I mean, that really says something too.
Jeff Storm's Facebook video. He opens the video with, "Boys, we are way better than this."
Yep.
Got it. I don't know where you put that. Somewhere in the middle, I don't know. Take it what you want to do with it.
And then I go to the Dells and we run well, for the most part, pretty good amongst the leaders. We run good amongst the leaders.
Yeah.
So it's just
Namely the same ish group of cars.
Yep. It just, boy, did it leave a sour taste in your mouth for this race.
Yeah. And I understand 15 grand, but at what cost?
Yep. Especially when cars were dropping left and right too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Because even to that point, only 13 cars finished that race, and we started 27.
Yeah. A couple of them there were uncontrollables. I get that.
Correct.
Mondike's got a motor problem.
Solder broke.
Solder broke.
Mondike broke. Nason broke. DeAngelis broke.
That 250 is a long ways though.
Dude, WIR just eats cars.
Oh, hey, by the way, I just noticed Gabe Summers got docked another lap in that race.
Oh,
So instead of finishing 9th, he finished 13th.
got it.
So just of note on that one. Which
Yeah.
I'm gonna check on something here while we're at it.
I don't, yeah, like I said, I'm somewhere in the middle. When the race,
Not our best showing.
no, and that group of drivers knows that. Some are at fault, some are not. You know,
Yep.
there's some of them that minded their own business and did exactly what they were supposed to do and were good, but yeah, that's that. When you talk about a Midwest tour or a Midwest Wisconsin super late model race, that is not what you would expect.
Yep.
So, yeah. But what are you digging on there, my guy?
I was making sure our points were updated correctly since I had picked Somers to win that race.
Oh, got it. Following.
So that's what I was doing. But I don't know. Yeah, like I said, it's a shame that some of the crown jewel races that I take a lot of pride in up here, they're not really producing. Not producing, but just disappointing.
Yeah.
A little bit better car count. Had a few local guys show up, which I know that we were going to follow up with that from Slinger Nationals as well.
Yep.
So we had a few of the local guys show up. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll leave it up for discussion and see what Oktoberfest, I guess, brings, because I think that'll be kind of the big that or short track championships at the Dells.
Yep. For sure. Any final thoughts before we jump to the next controversial debate of the night?
No, I mean that race, that 250 laps on that track is brutal on equipment there. And we see it time and time again. Sometimes all you got to do is run all 250 and you can get a top 5, top 6, top 7 finish out of it. I mean, it eats equipment. It is tough on it, and it's a long race on a tricky track. So it's a cool race though.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's jump ahead. I think everyone's kind of waiting to see who has an opinion on what in
The
terms of
elephant in the room.
this NASCAR race at Richmond and how the tires are overlooked and the finish was suspect. Where do you want to start?
I will. Let's just talk very briefly about the race itself. Talk
Yep.
about the first 398 laps or whatever it was.
Yep.
The red tires in this option tire made me keep tuning into the leaderboard or on Twitter while at Sun Prairie last night. Just the way that guy, like Suarez, coming from 13-1 on those option tires and then managing them afterwards. McDowell salvaging his race a little bit. And just some of the other guys that was able to take advantage of it. I think the general consensus is everybody thought it was a good tire. I think part of the discussion was it shouldn't be an option tire. It should be the primary tire at the short tracks.
Yep.
Stick to one tire, but make that the primary tire.
Yep. Tell them, give them their lap allotment. Here it'll run 40. You run 48, 50, 52, 55, you're going to put yourself in a bad spot. We'll set you up with tires to make the race go.
But even then too, like it ran about 30 laps before it evened off.
Yep.
And even, I don't know what the longest run was on those reds, but even when you popped them off, it's not like they were blistering by any means. It's just they've lost their grip, and the primary in this case took advantage.
Yep. So, yeah, you have to think it's going to be absolutely be a viable option.
Yep. I think it was a great experiment. I think it answered one question, but went about it a different way to get the answer.
I'd agree. Yeah, for sure. So
Because the other thing that came with it too, and another thing that's overlooked in this race, we had set a new record for the number of lead changes in this race at Richmond.
of course, what more can you ask for?
Yep.
Passing.
I think you checked every box.
Yep. Yeah.
It adds a whole new element of strategy too. It almost adds like the off pit strategy. It adds that another element of strategy to it that I thoroughly enjoy.
Well,
And
Suarez was Exhibit A.
yeah, and I just love the
He-
fact that
All he needed was track position. He was
Yep.
not going to finish in the top 10 with the car he had. They worked on it. But when he
Tires
put those
helped.
reds on and that dude was like a rocket ship, all he needed was a track position.
It was like a rocket in Mario Kart. It's literally what it was.
Nope.
Whole
and
nother level.
yeah, and like you said, like it adds a whole nother layer of like, hey, he used a rocket ship. Now it did kind of come back to bite him a little bit at the end or in the middle portion of that. But again, for a race like that, you're battling track position, you just need track position. Dude, it changed his race when he threw those reds on and drove right around everybody and got himself to the front. But again, it did bite him a little bit later when he was on yellows and everybody else was on reds, and then they were telling him just wait, be patient, it'll even out. But it adds a whole nother layer of strategy to the race that I thoroughly enjoyed. You're gonna be the first one to do it, and it might pay off, and you'll beat it's like the new invention that you beat everybody to. You can do it, be the first one to do it, and it'll pay off for you, or you can be the first one to do it and
Yep.
it
And
doesn't pay
again,
off, but it's the risk you can take. It can make or break your race.
and you gave the teams the opportunity to put them on whenever they wanted.
Yep. That was perfect. That was perfect. Don't
Yep.
mandate it. Let them pick.
Yep.
Because everyone saw what Suarez and McDowell did.
Oh,
They were going noted.
it changed the race.
Yeah, break that down.
Yep. That was the big note on the top of their notepads.
Yep. Reds are rocket. Circle that. Put that in your memory bank for later.
Yep.
Red
And
rocket.
it ultimately came in handy. Given due to other circumstances, but they had those reds available on a short run when they were going to be good for the entire run.
I.e., lap number 398.
So we get to that point, and again, we had no organic cautions up until that point. When Stenhouse broke something, flat tire.
Drove it.
It didn't seem right though. He hit the wall. Like
He hit the wall like something broke, and it just kept going.
he had no intent to even try to keep it off the wall. So that makes me think he broke.
Correct. Because even before he hit Priest, you saw him lock up.
Yep.
So was that something broke?
Yeah.
Kind of look to it.
Well, ultimately, what it did is it gave us this ending of this race, is what it did.
Yep.
He
So
dragged the 41. 41 turns around, not a scratch, spins around, keeps going. He's good. Stenhouse is done for the night. Fine.
yep.
Ultimately, what it comes down to is everyone comes down and puts the reds on. And we've got a green white checker.
Yep. And Logano gets the jump, gets out front, runs a lap, coming to turn 3 of coming to the checkered, and it's where the other shit show happens.
Austin Dillon. Logano had what, 3 cars on him, 4 cars on him?
Yeah. And I guess I never checked, but I'm gonna check right now. From one of my favorite Twitter follows, Bozzy on Twitter. He posted the SMT data. I never looked to see if the brake pedal was ever used on that lap. Because he went diving in.
Yeah, he
So
drove that car in there like deep, deep.
So funny enough, the break, I don't know, man. There's not much difference in the break on the lap looking at it.
Okay.
There's a noticeable spike in the break, but that was at the moment of contact or after.
Right.
So he definitely sent it in, but he didn't use as much brake. So it's not like he went in without the brake.
Yep.
And then
But let's
spun the
be honest.
22, which we've seen it before. That kind of move to knock somebody out of the way. I mean, we saw it with, I mean, it wasn't as egregious, but Edwards and Bush at Richmond, however many years ago.
Yep.
I mean,
But
you see that move more often than not.
the reality of the situation is the 3 was not going to make the corner if he didn't hit the 22.
Correct.
That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah,
He
because he
was
hit him
not
in the
going
right
to make
rear.
the corner, and he almost missed them. He
Correct.
almost didn't get them. So you knew that he sailed it off in there, and then here comes the poor 11 car.
He was going to use the 22 to stop him. And then, yeah, like you said, here comes the 11 of Hamlin.
And Hamlin comes through there, and then he gets
Right hooked.
right hooked, right reared, and sent in the wall, and away goes the 3.
So I saw something with that some people were saying was the line that Hamlin ran, did Hamlin cut up basically into Dylan's nose? And
So I
the
saw
general
that.
but the general consensus is that Hamlin actually ran a tad bit lower compared to the normal line
Yep.
coming to the checker.
Yep.
So just throwing that out there. Just
Another
throwing it out there.
that you talk about the lower line. The other question I have is I watched a video today with the 22 where he was and how that all happened. The yellow came out very late. That a yellow gets put out potentially earlier. You now have the 11 car that is junked, but also the race winner. So it happened so fast. Let's be honest
Yep.
about it. It's hard to make that call, but the 22 was junked early enough that that could have been a part of it too. Were they going to let him run the line? Yeah. But now are you putting Logano in danger of not getting to him soon enough? Yes.
Because that caution was thrown because of Logano.
Yep.
Did we press the button too soon, do you think? Did we need the caution for Logano? He didn't hit the wall super hard by any means. He was
No.
out of the racing groove.
Yep.
Given he's still on track, but he's out of the racing groove. You're
True.
so you could say the caution wasn't necessarily needed.
Wasn't warranted. Yeah.
That's a whole nother discussion that I think kind of is underlying in this whole deal.
Yep. I haven't liked Joey Logano of recent. After last night,
You can't.
He earned a lot more respect from me.
Logano was nowhere in the wrong in the entire scenario. Well, Cam, you posted a video in the group chat.
Yeah, he just about hit some people on pit road.
Let's talk about that in a minute. Let's finish the
Yeah.
race crap first.
So
because
here's my thought. So Dylan just made himself a villain for the entire field. And to follow it up, and he basically doubled down and said, you know, I guess I would add a little bit more respect for him. And if he said, you all know what, was it the right thing to do? No. But with the year I've had, this was my only shot to get a win. And I did what I did to get myself a win. I've had a terrible year. Just laid out there for us.
Well, and then it was it was also his post-race interview on the front stretch, given I never heard it, but thanking the man up above and having the kids there and all that, and not really mentioning anything about, I really didn't want to do what I wanted to do, what I had to do. But that's the other thing. It was the I had to do what I had to do phrase.
Yeah, he doubled down on everything and said, I did what I had to do to win the race. And
Yep.
it's like, okay. So basically, what you just told the entire field is if you're in second, you're willing to do
That.
egregious stuff to get a race win, whether it's the right or wrong way to do it, you're willing to do it no matter what. So
Yep.
it is what it is. It sucks. And obviously we didn't even bring up the spotter and radio chatter that's being thrown around of Wreckham, this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. Now, I will say, where's the line? I think it definitely was crossed there.
Yep.
But we can rewind to, I think it was last year at Darlington, where Joey Logano's 2 cars back on William Byron. And what does he do?
Just plows right into
Does
Byron.
the same exact shit to William Byron.
Yep.
He drives it in there and sends William Byron into the wall, coming to the white flag. So again, the big thing that I think my overall takeaway was it egregious? 100%. It's because I felt like I side with Joey Logano. He was 3-4 car lengths back. It's different if you're, a car length back and you just, you drive it a little bit harder, but that was some NASCAR Heat 5 PS4 shit where you're in second and you're coming to the white. That's what we do on the PlayStation. Use the bumper as your braking point. So
Yep. I think we're raising a big uproar more for the Hamlin deal than we are the Logano. To your point, we saw it before with Logano and Byron. We've seen that scenario play out many a times.
Yep.
Sure, it's a discussion, but that's not where the uproar is coming from. The uproar is coming from the Hamlin one.
The precedent that's been set about a right rear sending somebody to the wall.
Yep.
NASCAR's time and time again said they won't stand for it. Look at Chase Elliott.
Now, I bring that up. The other example was Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson.
Yep.
I bring up the Elliott example specifically because do you remember if there was an in-race penalty for that? Like, was he parked for a lap? Was he?
No, I don't believe so.
We never got to see it Wallace because he wrecked himself in the process.
Yes, we never really got an opportunity to see how it would play out.
So with Elliott, I don't think there was ever a in-race penalty.
Correct.
No parked for 2 laps or anything like that.
Yep.
So now you introduce a completely different scenario. This is the race winner on the last lap now.
Yep.
You can't introduce a race penalty because you never introduced it in the past.
Correct.
So.
Yep. Correct. NASCAR said they're looking at it, and if something happens, they're going to come out with it tomorrow. Tuesday, the day you'll see this.
Yep. So it's just, and the thing is they got to be consistent with their calls.
They're in a very tricky situation here because if we've seen the SMT data, and I'm not going to say that it was blatant, but I'll just tell you the tweet that I saw with the data said guilty.
There were differences in the laps turned throughout that race.
Lap 398 looked way different than 399.
So my question to you guys, do you guys think NASCAR should revoke the win?
No, you can't.
You can't revoke the win, but I can tell you this. You can give them a vacation, make them apply for a waiver.
Because
now,
I think
are they gonna grant the waiver? Probably, but make it as humanly hard on them by all of the books as possible to make these guys think about this a little bit.
So here's my situation is that you absolutely can't revoke the win. Now, what's going to come out of it, I don't know. But we can sit here and say the SMT data shows that he drove it in hard. He, the old hook job was it was what it was, but I guess I'm
So
thinking about the Logano portion. That's there's no fine, no foul in that.
correct.
Hang on.
That is not the penalty enforcer. That is
Yeah,
not the position to enforce it.
So what Cam is alluding to is as Logano's wrecked, he comes on pit road.
Oh, you're talking that one. Got it.
Now, obviously frustrated. He comes down pit road, stops in the 3 pit box. There's a group of people trying to cross pit road while cars are moving. Stops right in front of their pit box. He stabs at one hard good time, and then rolls up and stops and gets out.
I don't know if you saw the video I sent in the group chat, but he was completely, there's 2 lanes for pit road cars to go down, and he was creating his own third row
And driving into foot traffic.
So-
and into foot traffic. So
2 things about that. Number one,
that
he's for sure going to get something out of that.
Oh, yep.
Should he have done it? Absolutely not. Number 2, why do we have people out on pit road when everyone knows there are cars moving? I've said it.
Shouldn't
I
be
told Cam
anywhere
this.
past the pit box.
I told Cam this. It's no different than you and I going to the short track. The pits do not open until the cars are parked, i.e. the Dell's the only one that gets to move is the race winner. You have
Yep.
one car. Fine. Let all the cars get to either the pit box or where they are stopped for post race. Then everyone can leave the outside edge of the pit box. There's no reason Austin Dillon's wife should be out on pit lane holding the baby when she knows there are cars coming down pit road. They're not stopping for her. Should he have done it? Absolutely not. Don't agree with it a single bit. Should those people been out there running around like that, like a bunch of idiots? Absolutely not. And don't tell me it's the first time at the racetrack, because it ain't.
Yep.
That's the part that pisses me off about the whole thing is he shouldn't have done it for sure. Use your brain. You're out there running around with these cars going, and you know that these guys are strapped into the port they can hardly see. The blind spots are egregious.
Yep.
So, yeah, is he going to get a slap on the wrist? For sure. But these bozos out here running around on pit road when cars are, you get the whole field coming down. What are you doing? Yeah, that's the part that pisses me off. Because he'll probably get something worse out of it. When should he have done that? No. But should they have been? That one lady wasn't even looking, and she walked out in front of the car and it was moving.
yeah,
What are you doing?
he'll for sure get something for that, as he should. But I mean, I think NASCAR's got a pretty. I think it's
They've got themselves in a corner that they didn't get themselves into, but all eyes are on them.
the punting Joey Logano is not punishable. I would guess I want to know I can probably look and figure it out. Well, what the steering pattern was on the SMT data of
The way that I interpreted it was at the moment of Hamlin going by, there was a sharp left turn, followed by a solid right turn.
There was you can see the deep V.
Yep, you saw the spike up, the spike down, and the spike back to normal.
Yeah. So
Basically what it was.
On track, I'm in I think it was Couch Racer, maybe it was Kraft. Somebody posted it was 4 things. It was a poll. Whose team are you on? It was Hamlin, Logano, Dylan, and then the bottom one, pardon my French, said fuck them all. But if I could have voted for both Hamlin and Logano, I probably would have.
I would have probably voted for Hamlin more than Logano, personally. Just again,
Fair.
you've seen that Logano and Dylan situation play out before.
Yeah, for sure. So
2 points I want to make, and then we'll kind of go from there. One, I looked at the 2 situations from before. I don't know about monetary fines, but they were 1 race suspensions for Elliott and Wallace. So There's your baseline. 1 race suspension.
Yep.
Anything less than that, wrong call. Point 2, Greg Biffle made a comment, and he didn't name any names, but he said it does not take a talented driver to wreck somebody. It takes a talented driver to bump somebody out of the way and not wreck them.
Yep. Not naming names though.
And take that for what you feel like it's worth.
Yep. For sure.
So I don't know. It's just, that's another one of those that you had a, it was not a barn burner race by any means, but it was an intriguing race that gets completely swept under the rug because of a sour ending.
Yep.
Pop's proud of you though.
That's a whole other thing with RC.
Yeah, dude, he's lost it.
Just
What are we doing, my guy?
Told the spotter he did a good job because he did what he had to do to win the race.
it's just
Same,
there
right?
is so many things wrong with that whole scenario.
The whole thing, start to finish, is a mess.
Yeah.
Yep. And
From
it's in
that to-
NASCAR's hands now to rectify it.
And we'll sit and wait and see what happens tomorrow morning.
About 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we should know.
Yep. And then so Hamlin and Gabe Hart went to the hauler for NASCAR and had a discussion. And then I know Logano had a discussion with NASCAR. I'm not sure if Paul Wolf was a part of it though.
I think Logano's was just his pit road stuff.
Probably
I don't think Paul Wolf.
was
got a
invited
call.
to that conversation.
No, that was more so that they were going to have a one-on-one.
Yep. Fair enough.
So I don't know. To me, the whole part of the tire thing gets overshadowed, and that's too bad because they really did a really good job with that tire. That proved to be what they needed it to be.
Yep.
And now no one's going, man, that tire was awesome. Everyone's too busy picking a goddamn team for this complete disaster of the last 2 corners.
It was frustrating.
Well, honestly, it is. It still is. Like,
And I mentioned it to you as well. Stock car racing as a whole has not been on a good stretch. Cars Tour,
not
you
good.
declared a winner on Saturday and DQ'd him on Tuesday.
Yep.
We just talked about our Gandrud Dixieland 250 deal,
Yep.
and now you got this.
Yeah.
Amongst those 3, boy, we look like a bunch of idiots right now.
Well, that and the other thing is, you got any young kids or any young drivers watching this? What do they think is acceptable? Sail it off in there, junk a few cars, and drive away.
Tom Roberts from the Quickie Development Program was very quick to say, this is not how you race, and this is not what we expect out of any of our candidates ever.
Tyler Reddick, I saw a thing in video on Twitter. Tyler Reddick says that his kid watched it and made a comment and thought it was okay to do that. And he's like, hang on a second here, bud.
Yeah.
So
No, it's not.
it's that certainly doesn't go unnoticed by the youth as well.
So you mentioned, I think Cam, you mentioned how this paints a target on his back for at least for the rest of the regular season, if not the rest of the season. We got Daytona coming up here. Is he ever going to have any friends for Daytona?
No shot. He'll be running laps by himself. Well, maybe him and Kyle Busch if Kyle Busch decides to help him.
It's just,
He'll get hit. He will get single filed out of Daytona so fast.
oh, he'll get shoved out of the draft.
Of course.
I mean, but so to your guys' point and spotter Brett's point, do you think Austin Dillon gives a damn? Dude saved his ride, locked himself in the playoffs. You can kiss his ass for all
He's
he
going to
knows.
finish no worse than 16th in the points standings at year's end, and that's more money in RC's pocket.
Yep. From 32nd when last year he wouldn't even have been eligible.
2 years ago. That's
So, okay,
2 years. Either way.
here nor there.
So to your point, we can sit here and say, yep, the field's going to race you like a bat out of hell. You're going to get treated differently the rest of the year. But you can kiss his hind end because he don't care. Just saved his ride, made his pop happy, got his bag, locked himself in the playoffs. That was a 16 position swing there in the points that he just locked himself in. So is it good? Is he going to pay for it? Yep. but I don't think he really cares, to be honest, because again, what a huge move that was for him to win a race, to save his career, to save his ride. I mean,
And it's a damn shame too, because he had the car that was going to win that race,
correct.
regardless.
Yep.
It's also convenient that, I'm going to say this, then we carry on. The 47 was conveniently involved in that, knowing that the 3 car had quite a lead on that last couple of laps there.
All right. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, carry on.
We don't need to go down that hole. I know,
Well,
it's just,
he broke.
Are you
but-
talking about his
Yeah.
teammate?
Well, I'm just talking about somebody might have said, "Hey, the 3 car might win and get in the playoffs," and Steno said, "Yeah, hang on a second." No, I
Just-
don't believe.
Well,
I don't believe that to be the scenario, but it's just the pure coincidence of the 47 breaking, which I believe he did, and being involved, which kind of everyone's going. If the 47 went the house to 41, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But
correct.
I
we
was
are.
thinking just the old spotter said, "Hey, an RCR car is going to win this race." All right, say no more. I'll sail her into one.
Jesus.
I don't believe that's the case, but
Either way, it's
you
just,
can dream. You can dream.
yeah.
That's the old NASCAR. You need the intentional caution. Yep, closest car to me. Yeah, I'll right rear him here.
Yeah.
Just not good.
But anyhow, well, if you have thoughts, opinions, comments, put them on the socials or drop them in the comments here. Let's debate this out. And there's a million different angles you can look at. There's a million different people that have mentioned it. Numerous drivers have spoken on it. So give us your take of what has been this lovely Richmond race. So before we get into race previews, let's just do this real quick. So they actually did finish the race.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Yep, no kidding. Dylan, Hamlin, Reddick, Bubba, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Larson, Hocevar, Elliott, Suarez round out your top 10. And then just for reference, Logano was scored 19th to finish the race.
Which I would probably assume was last car in lead lap because he never really got spun around.
Yeah, he never did. Yeah. So that's how the actual scoring when it comes to finishing the race.
So I was gonna check Jeff Gluck's poll here real quick.
Yep.
But as I looking at it, we were just talking about Joey Logano going down pit road. He says, well, he guess that'll be a $50,000 fine. That said, as a totally separate issue, there are too many people on pit road as cars are coming in from the cool down lap. So Cam, you hit it right on or both you guys really hit it on the head.
Yep.
So,
So
poll wise, and I have not seen a poll yet today from him. If he even posted one. Oh, there it is.
it's on there.
We're at 25,500 votes right now. Oh, I'm gonna do yes just for the fact of the tires.
Yep.
61% yes, 39 no. Is
Okay.
where we're sitting at right now.
All right.
And if you guys saw Carson Hocevar, he posted the meme of him as a pizza man just standing in the house that's on fire as a PA finish.
Ross Chastain also said, "Well, I'm just glad not to be in it." The guy that's been in the middle of attention to shit like this.
So, all right.
I mean that.
All right. Let's
Just wrapping that up. I mean that obviously shakes up the bubble.
Oh, yes,
to that point,
absolutely.
and we're just
Yeah.
pulled that up here. Martin Truex Jr. blows up. He's plus 78. Ty Gibbs plus 18. Bubba Wallace finds himself in this situation again every single year. Plus 3. Ross Chastain. Now we go below the cut line. Ross Chastain minus 3. Chris Buescher minus 3. Chase Briscoe. Then we get into must wins. Chase Briscoe minus 102. Kyle Busch 120 back 122. But Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, both 3 out. Bubba Wallace 3 to the good. Ty Gibbs plus 18. Those 4 racers, you better watch them the next couple weeks. You cannot afford a bad week. So
You got to bring your A game.
bingo.
Yeah.
Another thing gets kind of swept under the rug in this whole situation.
Yep. For sure. Not to mention, I kind of honestly even forgot that Truex blew up.
Yep.
So, all right. Yeah, again, give us a tape, give us a thought, give us your opinion. We'll go from there and we'll continue to hash this out. Again, stay tuned for tomorrow. NASCAR will put out the penalty report tomorrow. So you could expect something to come of that for an array of individuals in all of this. So stay tuned for that. All right, race previews. Getting ready for the upcoming weekend here. Who wants which one? Van Grol, you seem like you'd be race preview number 2.
Works for me.
I'll jump on the first one. All right, Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series back in action this weekend, coming off of Duck River. This is the reschedule for Sonoya from earlier in the year that got rained out. So they'll be racing Saturday, August 17th for a one-day event. Racing for 15 grand. So usually have 2 nights. This event is just one. Looking at the points, Brandon Overton, Sam Seawright, Mitchell, Winger, Putnam, and Joyner are your top 6, but the bottom 2 tied for 5th. So those top in points are all within 118 of each other. Van Grol, send it on to you.
Continuing on the ASA Midwest Tour stretch of races here, we race again this coming Saturday down at Hawkeye Downs. We go to the Hawkeye State for their yearly trip. Gabe Summers was last year's winner down there. The way your points, go ahead.
Entry list 9 minutes ago.
Did it really?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
perfect for this.
Wow. Okay, so and I was just about to mention Ricky Baker is probably on that list. But anyway, so while you're looking, I'm gonna do this. So points, Levon is 77 back, Summers is 88 pack, Mondyke is 105, and then Fredrickson is 130. Expect maybe a couple of Iowa guys to show up, but it should be for the most part your Midwest Tour regulars for this one.
Yeesh.
Hold on, I'm trying to find my link here. There's the entry list one. Continue.
My little buddy's coming to visit again.
So, current entry list: John Beal, Bryce Miller, Cody King, Vandergeest, Joe Ross, Valento, Fredrickson, Mondyke, Mueller, Jeremy Mueller, Siegelman, Kendrick Cryer, James Lynch, Riley Stenjum, Jason Stark, Brian Sierkeski, Brett Edmonds, Dylan Bates, and Tristan Swanson. You're sitting at 18 as of today.
Yes, sir.
For this Saturday. So,
yep. Should be a good race. They're kind of in my neighborhood again, ish, kind of.
I definitely will not be making that trip down there. Your boys got to work on Saturday.
Yeah, I haven't decided what I'm doing because this next race preview, Cam, go ahead. I got some options for Saturday.
Yeah, coming off of recently being at the track with the World Outlaws late models at USA Nationals. And after an off weekend for some guys that chose for it to be, back in action here Wednesday, August 14th at Highland Speedway. Thursday for 10,000 to win. Thursday, August 15th for another 10,000 to win at Spoon River. And then Friday and Saturday, August 16th and 17th, we're going to, I believe it's pronounced Makota Speedway.
Maquoketa.
Makokada,
There you
close
go.
enough. On Friday and Saturday for a 2-night show. Not to be confused with the Hawkeye 100 at Hawkeye Downs, but I don't know if this is a repeat, but the Hawkeye 100 for Friday 10,000 to win, Saturday 20,000 to win. So we already mentioned it on the earlier World Outlaws kind of finishing up their Midwest swing. That points battle is ramped up with between Bishop, Nick Hoffman, and Bobby Pierce. So obviously some big races here, a lot of racing, good purse money. So it's going to be a fun weekend for the World Outlaws late models. So yeah, they will be at Makokada, I believe, Kellen.
Yep.
Correct. So jumping into the other races on the schedule there, we already touched on the World Outlaws late models, NASCAR wheel and modifieds at Thompson, Cars Tour, 8 model stock cars at Ace. High Limit goes to Thunderbolt. Lucas Oil Dirt late models at Batesville. World Outlaw Sprint Cars at Jackson Motorplex, High Limit at Kings. Arkham Menards goes as the NASCAR Cup Series goes to Michigan. Arkham Menards will follow. USAC Silver Crown goes to Worldwide Technology Raceway. World Outlaw Sprints, PowerEye Sprint Cars at Lucas Oil Speedway. NASCAR Xfinity is also at Michigan after their 3-week break. Touched on ASA Stars National Tour. Owasso?
Yep.
Bingo. Let's
Nailed
go.
it.
They are racing this weekend. High Limit Sprint Cars goes in another show at Placerville. Kellen touched on Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series. We got IRA Sprint Cars at Wilmot. NTT IndyCar Series at Worldwide Technology. Going to be a big weekend there. And then, wrapping up with the Cup Series at Michigan. And as always, you can catch your IRA Sprint Cars at Angel Park for a little Sunday night action. So
With the Badger Midgets.
with the Badger Midgets. So again, a lot of good racing coming at you across the board, scattered across the country. So if you're in the area, hit up your track. If not, there's a streaming service so you can watch it all.
I haven't done one of these in a while.
I was gonna say, Van Grohl, this is where we hit your wheelhouse late in all these math and calculations and stuff you do.
Yeah, so let's touch on fantasy the week that was at Richmond. Truex did not help me at all.
Didn't help me at all. Christopher Bell didn't help me at all.
And you still, Cam, you still ended up on top of the board, tied with Dietzel for top man this week.
Didn't even look at the results because I was so pissed. I didn't even look at what they turned out to be because I had Truex and Christopher Bell in my lineup, and I was like, well.
Yeah, you tied with Dietzel at 215. Gasman's girl was at 211. I was at 199. Kellen, you're at 179. Sully's pit picks were at 169, and then Kurt Buschdan was at 156. Looking at the overall standings, Cam, you gained a tad bit of ground on me at that. I'm at 45-44. Cam, you're at 42-92. Kellen, you're at 41-14. That's kind of group one there, and then it breaks into another group with Gasman's girl at 40-26. Dietzel 39-28, Sophie's pit picks 37-61, and then 32-98 for Kurt Buschdan. That's where we sit right now with 3 races remaining in the regular season.
Yep.
Race picks wise, I did take into account. What's that?
Kel, are you feeling any heat there for a 4th place slide there?
No.
That's got to be what, about 80 points?
No, I had 90.
I'm looking at it going, any Hendrick cars or Joe Gibbs cars or 2311 cars, insert. Use them up, baby. Zeros.
So looking at last week's picks, since we had 2 of them, combined points wise, Cam, you ended up winning amongst the 3 of us. You had 134 total points. I was in second with 128 total points. And then Kellen, you were at 109 total points. So the rolling standings, I'm at 1351. Cam, you're in second with 1269. Kellen, you're at 1189. I think we're kind of hitting a lot of cup races, so you got to get some good cup picks coming into this one. I did the picking order based on our combined points from last week, so that makes Kellen our first pick. I am second, and then Cam, you are third.
Guy we just talked about on the bubble, he gets himself out of that situation. Chris Buescher.
All right. Going for the back-to-back there, eh?
He gets himself out of that sticky situation. Says, I'm good for the rest of the regular season.
All right. Get this written in here. You know what? If you're going to go with the one RFK car, I will go with the other. Give me Keselowski to bring it home at his home track.
We left you all sorts of good stuff.
Okay, I'm giving you a chance to close the gap.
I mean, yeah, just give me Kyle Larson.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm not gonna get cute with it.
Yep. Let's go with the guy who knows got the raw speed.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's been a wild episode 46. Two short race recaps, a lot of controversy, a lot of debate, a lot of news to come, both on the front of penalties along with the silly season that we continue to monitor. So wrapped her up with a few race recaps with that. But as always, we appreciate the listens on the go. If you're a podcaster on the go, we've got our podcast on all of our platforms. But again, as always, hit the bell, make sure you're subscribed for any of the content that comes out. We'll have a few race previews coming out earlier this week or later in the week. But until then, we'll see you all next week for episode 47 of the Tuesday Track Talk.